full interview series. We are celebrating a fantastic book launch with the main author being Len DeCarmine, and it's the author of 1% More. And it has been a remarkable day of interviews. And I hope that if you're listening now, which is awesome, um, be sure and um, purchase a copy of the book. Make sure that you share it with somebody that really could use the help, but also just really um, tap into the goodness that's been brought to fore through the pages of this book. Today we have Alexis Braunfeld and Allison Noel Megherian. Is that how it is?
Megherian.
Megherian. and welcome today. So, Alexis, your chapter is called "Please Place Your Mask Over Your Own Mouth and Nose Before Assisting Others." Talk to us about that, and why did you choose that as the title of your chapter, and what made you decide to participate in this amazing book?
Well, first, why I decided to join in the book is I met Len, and he was incredible, and I knew that he was doing great stuff. So I wanted to be a part of this book that he was putting together, and he just added so much to it, and I thought it was going to be a great project.
Right.
And why did I name my chapter what it did is I'm all about self-care. Through my own challenges and experience, I was not putting my oxygen mask on before helping others. I was helping everyone else before helping myself. So I felt like that, thing that the airline people say all the time is really just so fitting, that we all have to take care of ourselves, because we can't help everyone that we want to help unless we're taking care of ourselves.
So true. And most of the time, we give up ourselves before we give up to, we take care of everybody else around us, and we don't take care of ourselves. And that's not the way life is supposed to be. Yeah. And what's the name of your chapter, Allison? I had it right here and I just can't see it right now. And you were like, I don't know.
Mine's what lead you to your purpose.
Very good. Yes. It's funny because I had it all underlined, and it was like, but I've underlined everybody's today. So now it's, underlined. So what possessed you to be a part of this particular book?
So I met Len through one of my bandmates, and he just shared a post with me about him and was like, this guy, he's extraordinary and you're extraordinary, and you guys should, he's looking for people for his podcast. And I had just started my business, Motivating the Mindset, and I had just written a book. So I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to network. And I just really connected with Len and just thought everything he does is absolutely extraordinary. And when he brought up the book idea, I said, absolutely. There was no second guess. I said, yes.
So share with us how it is that you serve today in your business, and why you chose that business to be how you show up today.
So self-development, I had no idea what that was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And I had no idea how important it was. And I also didn't realize how unhappy I was in my life. I always came across as just like this very happy, have it all together type of girl. And on the inside, I was just dying on the inside. I was a mess. And I started doing lots of different self-development, reading all the books, meditation, breath work, really just finding myself and realizing that I'm a music teacher. And through that, I realized this is what I've been doing with kids. I've been like life coaching, mindset, mentoring kids this whole time. Oh, let me write a book about it. Oh, let me start a business. And it just like, it's all spiraling into all these beautiful things. And that is my purpose, and is to help other people find their purpose and whatever that is, and realize that they're the only one getting in their way from their own clarity. It's all within you. You have every tool. So I was excited to share a little bit of that in this chapter about your intuition and leading you to where you want to go.
That's awesome. And do you still work with kids mostly, or?
I do work with kids. Well, full time, I'm a music teacher in New York City. So that's definitely still a big bulk of my day. And I do all mindfulness and breath work with them through music, which is really cool. And then I also have my business where I was only working with adults at first. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, wait, I'm doing this with kids all day at work. I could probably do it outside work. So now my business has expanded to working with kids, and they use my book as one of the tools, which is really cool.
How remarkable. And to think of being able to reach them while they're children, while they're kids, and really pave the way, help them to expand their thinking, and to pave the way for them to maybe not make as many mistakes as we've made along the way, to really just tap into who they are.
I've realized that I even say it to them, I look at them and I go, I wish I knew this. Like, I wish someone told me that my dreams were not that big and that I could do it all, and just, it was okay. And there's nothing to really be scared about, just to go with it. If it's with good intention, I always go like this. I'm like, it's good intention, like from your heart, then you're doing the right thing for you. And you don't need anybody else's validation. I just wish when I was a kid, somebody told me that. And I was still like a really strong, powerful kid. So I was like, wow, if I had that, I'd be like,
How awesome. That is so cool. And I think about, boy, I was a really, really shy kid, and trying to figure myself out all through life. It seems like it's been the last 10 or 15 years, and I'm starting to put it together, and I think, wow, I could have done so much if I knew this stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. But how do you feel, Alexis, about where our world is today?
Wow, our world is that's a big question.
It is.
I was like aiming way more towards the kids and so our world today, I feel like everyone is busier and has less time. We're spreading ourselves too thin because we're all trying to do more. We have access to so many tools at our fingertips. We can just do so much more with all the time we have, and then we don't stop. So what way back was like maybe a 9 to 5 is now, we're basically working from the moment we wake up at, 5, 6 o'clock until we like fall asleep with the computer in our face. So I think that kind of was me, actually. And that's why I got interested in self-care, because I had a cake decorating business, and I was burning myself out. I was mom all day and cake decorator all night. And I just was exhausted and I wasn't happy. Like, Allison, you were saying, I was miserable. I was like, I can't do this cake decorating business, which I started because it was a passion and I loved it. And I ended up finding out I was good at it. But I was miserable because I just was so tired of trying to cram everything in. And that's when I learned more about self-care and taking care of myself, and slowed down and said, no, I'm going to go to bed before midnight. And I'm going to take time for myself. I'm going to say no to some things, and try and put the pieces together so that I was taking care of myself before everyone else.
That's beautiful. So how do you serve in the world today?
So I actually still do too many things. I do my cake business. So my kitchen is being renovated right now. So my cake business has been on a slight hold, but I actually have taught cake decorating and veggie cooking classes for a long time to kids. And in the fall, I was asked to jump in as a substitute teacher in a public school, in a high school, to sub for the high school cooking teacher because she was on maternity leave. And I've never been officially certified as a teacher, but they were really desperate for a teacher. And I had that background. I had the tools. And so I jumped in, and I was shocked. Like, I found such a passion. I absolutely loved it. I loved figuring out how to, what I was going to teach the kids, how to organize it, how to teach them, and then just get them engaged in it. So I really found a passion that was completely unexpected. And now the teacher came back. So currently I'm subbing. I'm a substitute teacher at the school, and I love the environment. I love the energy of being with the kids, but I also get to teach them little bits of my healthy living, the self-care tips. I have a tower garden that I have in the guidance room at school, which I was able to bring in through the cooking but now it's in the guidance room. So I bring kids in. I'm like, here, have a jalapeno, have some lettuce. Like, take care of yourself now.
How cool is that? And when I was raising my kids, they were 15 months apart, and I decided to homeschool them. And it was the most amazing experience I could have ever asked for, because I learned right alongside him, and we homeschooled very differently than the way most people do, because to learn, they had to learn to sew, and they had to cook for the era. They had to do all these things. It was just incredible and fun. But there's something special and magical about working with kids, regardless. And our home was always the hub of every kid everywhere. It was always filled with activity. They were always doing plays and just all kinds. Taught them to square dance, tried them all these things to do, just because it was there was just something magical about it. It was truly, truly fun.
Yeah,
So,
I always love, like, I love working with kids, and I have all along, but in hindsight, I kind of wish I had done more homeschooling with my kids when they were little. Like, at the time, I was like, there's no way, that's too overwhelming. But yeah, to just calm everything down and focus on real skills, like real world skills that they're going to need. So that's pretty awesome.
There's something magical about it. We one year we took, I used to take them here in Arizona. You can do this. We'd go camping in February every year. We'd take a trailer out. And my daughter's piano teacher was really upset with me because they had a piano recital coming up. So I said, fine, they'll be ready. So I got a little trailer and put the piano on the back of the trailer, took it out to the camping, and they practiced every day. It was so much fun, and created memories that were just
so amazing.
They thought he was like, but they're not going to be ready. Oh, yes, they will be ready. and we had, our friends would come out on the weekend, because we usually spent 2 weeks in February, because February here on the desert is magnificent. And this one night they're playing Bach and Beethoven and doing all these songs, and the little foxes and everything were kind of coming around. It was just little wild animals were loving it too. We had more fun doing that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's just the way you create memories, and working with kids, there's a certain amount of magic that goes with that. So if somebody, Allison, if somebody was to pick up a copy of this book, what would you hope they walked away with?
So I think that after me reading a lot of 1% More, only in 2 days, I've been like a psycho trying to read the whole thing. And just seeing how many different perspectives of different people that even though they're different, they all align.
They do.
I think there's like a lot of beauty, like Len, the way he was able to, pick the people or ask people to be part of this. He definitely picked a very specific type of person that wants good for the world, right? That wants to make a difference and just wants something good for humanity. So it doesn't matter who you are. I think you could read this even if you're not a business owner, because even if you're an aspiring business owner, you can get ideas from this. And I think it's very encouraging. And I wrote the chapter so long ago for myself that I read it and I cried because I didn't know I needed that now in my life. That chapter. So that was sobbing yesterday. I'm like, what's wrong with me? But like self-reflection is huge, and just seeing, like, I always say, like, I can do it, so you can do it. That's like my thing with my students and anybody in my life. And I even said it this morning on like a reel. I was like, this book came out, and I'm not telling you like, oh, I'm a published author again, but it's more like you can do it too. And I think this book shows you, like, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And I think that's a message that we're lacking as a society, and even for kids, especially where I'm working.
I think definitely for kids. I see it in school,
I literally wrote something I wrote in the chapter is saying how, like, when you're a kid, and I had a few of my students read it today because they're in middle school, they can read it. And they're looking at me going, but this right here. And I was like, what? Like this line about how kids, it's okay to dream as a kid. And when you become an adult, it's like not okay anymore. It's like taken away. And I'm like, that's a problem. And like, I read that again, like, yeah, I was right. That's
I'm good.
what I would do. Just be like, no, she's feeling.
Yeah.
Megherian, that was it. That's the line. That's it. I'm laughing because it's so interesting to hear their perspective too on life, because they have zero motivation. It's so sad. It's just like, well, like a pandemic happened. I'm in this like pandemic hole. I call them pandemic kids because that's what they are. But again, back to your question. Sorry, I sidetracked like I always do. But yes, it's good for I think a lot of different types of people. I think even young adults can easily read this and have an understanding of it, which also excites me because I think they need to be able to expand their horizons and just look at things. Like I think a high schooler should read this if they want to start a business. Maybe they don't want to go to college. Maybe they want to be an entrepreneur. And I try to instill this in kids. We're all like, college ready, college ready. Yeah, I think college is great, but I got 3 college degrees and I'm only using one of them. So
And for some people, college is not the right choice.
And I think telling kids that I'm in the inner city in Brooklyn, telling these kids you have to go to college, it's almost like a slap in the face at times, because you could see some of them are like, I want to do this. And I look at them, I go, but you can't, you'll do it. I got you. Just talk to me. I'm like, all right, no worries. So that's my everyday.
And the younger they are, when we can reach them and help them to know that they can attain those goals. Think of how much further ahead in life they will be if they listen and they get it, than some of us that really discovered this kind of thing late life. Really.
It's also not as much of like a taboo anymore, talking about like mindfulness. Like it's becoming way more mainstream. I know even me saying like I'm a mindset mentor, like people still don't get that. I don't like calling myself a life coach anymore, because what do I know about life compared to you? We're all living life. So I like to say that I'm a mindset and more of a mentor than a coach. Like, and that's the other thing. I had no problem changing my title and like becoming, I'm still evolving and becoming whoever this Allison Noel Megherian is. And I think as a kid, they should see like you could be this one day. You can grow into this. Like I'm also a singer-songwriter, and I've taken a back seat recently, but that doesn't mean I'm not. I still am, and that's still going to come back. So I think having this like flexibility and realizing you don't have to be so like, boom, this is it for the rest of your life, and it better be safe, because if it's not safe, you're done. No.
I think that I see. So I have a middle schooler. I have a 7th grader.
Oh, I'm gonna send you the book.
I think I have that one. But I see they get very stuck on labels. And I mean, I guess everybody does, but right now I just see so fiercely, like everything has to have like a spot and everything has to be labeled. And I completely agree with you about flexibility and like being open to see where your passions are and where that takes you, and stopping to think about, are you happy? Like, are you taking care of yourself? Are you happy? And it's super important. And I think it is important to encourage the young people, all the kids, to be thinking about this early on, because they do not teach it in school at all. It's just like English, math.
Unless they have this Megherian, it's probably not happening everywhere. It's like what you were saying about like the self-care, like since you take care of yourself, and like I tell parents this during parent teacher conference, I'm like, you need to model that. If you want your kid to take care of themselves, if you're not, they don't see that, so they don't know that that's what they should be doing. Like go to bed early. It's like my favorite phrase. And drink more water. That's all I say all day. You gotta go to bed early. You gotta drink more water. Like you're a plant. You got to like take care, and they just laugh at me. Like, got to go outside, breathe the air. But if you're doing that for your kids, like I really commend you as a parent, because that's what kids need the most, is to see that.
So yeah, I actually took my teaching job. I mean, I took it for the passion of the cooking, but I realized by doing it that I am following my self-care thing, because I'm on my kid's schedule. I'm not trying to do something like off their schedule and trying to work it in. So I'm on their schedule. I know what's going on in their lives. I have less work on my plate, and I'm more present for them. So like I'm still able to talk to my, health coaching and giving advice and, working on self-care with some of my clients. But I definitely have made myself more available and more open. And I'm like really thankful. I wish I had done it a little earlier, because my my one's a junior, and I'm like, he's leaving, and I'm like, why didn't I figure this out before? But I'm so glad to be on their schedule and more in their lives, and and being in school, it's like amazing when you're a parent. You get to know all the ins and outs of what's going on.
And they're going, Mom, you don't need to do this.
But don't talk to me in school. That's what they say.
Awesome. How has it been to be a part of this? I think, Lynn, you've been able to attract really authors. We've had somebody from Sweden, and we've had, Upper New York City, you two girls here. But we're from all over, and many of us didn't know each other. And so You've been able to collect a beautiful array. We had our oldest, I think Tom is close to 88, 89 years old. And what an inspiration he is. And then, then we have you younger ladies and everything in between. And it's been a beautiful collection. And so for you, Allison, what's it been like to be a part of this particular book?
So I like collaborating a lot, because I think when you bring more energies together, it becomes something bigger. It becomes something broader and more meaningful in a sense. Like, of course, I could do all these things on my own. I've done a lot of things on my own, but there's something very special about collaborating and putting your name next to someone else's and cheering someone else on. There's something exciting about that. So this has been very exciting for me. And also, I've had a lot of things just going on in life and a lot of stress, and I rant about it on my Instagram all the time, because my commute to work is insane and all these things are crazy, and this could not have come at a better time. And I believe in divine timing, and like there was like a little bit of a delay on the release of this, and I remember being like, it's going to come out exactly when I need it to come out, and that's exactly what happened, because that is life. It's divine timing. So I believe that even being part of this, when I wrote for it, I was like, oh my gosh, good. I want to write a second book. And I didn't know what I wanted it to be. I had like 20 ideas. And in the last 2 weeks alone, I narrowed it down. I know exactly what I'm doing for the next book. So awesome. I believe that this all happens for a reason. And like, I was supposed to meet you, Becky.
Totally awesome. Very, very beautiful. What about for you, Alexis?
So I never, ever, ever wanted to write a book. It is like one of the last things like on my list to do list. My husband's a writer. My husband's a singer-songwriter, actually, and he's the writer of half of his family. So it was the last thing that I ever wanted to do. But Len and I met last year through our networking group, and I was leading it, and then with someone else, and they had to go. So Len came in, and he just jumped right in, and I just was really inspired by everything he was doing. He led the group so well, and we had amazing conversations. So when he brought it up, it intrigued me. I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself this challenge. Like, I knew that it was, he was the right one to go with, because actually I've had different opportunities that have been presented to me, and I'm like, I don't know. But like I said, I just shy away from writing. I don't like to do it. I don't want to do it. I would rather just talk. And so I was intrigued, and I said yes, and did it, and forced myself to do it down to the deadline. Like, I'm doing this.
It was her. I had to push her a little bit. I'm like, come on, Alexis, you can do this. You can do. Oh, I don't want to write.
They say do what scares you, so you did it.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, it's been such a pleasure to meet both of you. It's just so much fun. Just your energy and what you bring to the world. Working with kids, it's just magical. And keep on doing what you're doing, because these kids need you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for those that are listening or will listen to this, if you think of somebody as you're reading it that you just think, wow, I know this person that really could use this book, share it with them. Buy the book, share it with them. Do something. You can also gift a Kindle book. There's ways that you can gift a Kindle book to somebody else if you don't want to do the print book. I personally like the print book because I like to mark things and earmark and then go back to it and read. Also, leave a review. If you have gotten the book and if you've read it, go in and leave a review, because that's part of the lifeblood of the success of this amazing book. So truly a delight to get to meet both of you, and thank you for all that you bring to the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.